Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. This is to add to the collection called SHTF Stories. Now this story isn't necessarily, a bad situation. It's more of a moral adventure. If I can phrase it some way. A couple of years ago, I got fired from a job I had, a day job. I worked two jobs. I've been working two jobs for a long time. I got fired from my day job. My fault. I took full responsibility. It was basically I was late too many times. It was the first time I ever worked two jobs, and working all day and all night and all day and all night. It was I couldn't keep the balance up. So I was let go, and I was leaving from my night job. And it was a rainy day, and as I was coming back, I was halfway home. I was approached by a guy who had asked me, did I have anything to eat? Now, normally at my old job, I used to take a lot of food back home with me, or we had food that was left over, and the owner didn't really care whether he actually encouraged that I eat the food that we had because he didn't want it thrown out. He didn't want it to go to waste. I took a lot of food home, and I had maybe a bag of chips at the time, and I told the guy, and I thought about it. I said, I got some more food at my job, and so I said, if you follow me, I understand it's raining. If you follow me, I have some more food I can give you. And he followed along with me. He introduced himself. His name was Reggie. Told him my name was Ed. We hiked up back to my old job. Unlocked. He sat down. I went in the fridge, grabbed some more food. Now while this is going on, I was in full view of where he was because it was a pretty open area where I worked. So I wasn't really concern. I also wasn't too concerned for my safety. I was prepared, in case something happened. And I looked at his feet, and I asked him, do you have any socks? Because it was raining pretty heavy. I had good boots on, so my feet were protected. But I asked the guy, do you have any socks? He said, you didn't have any socks. I said, I had the food. I gave it to him in a bag. I said, let me check your feet. I looked at his feet. He had, I can tell his feet has been in pretty cold weather and pretty damp. He had a lot of calluses on the bottom of his feet. Then I thought even further. I suppose things happen at the right time. I remember K-Goach did a video on timing, and my faith, the faith I have, it does push me to do things that may be out of the ordinary to other people. But if I can help someone, I would try my best to do. I would like to do what I can. And the reason why I relate this to someone to SHTF is because we may find ourselves in situations where we may have to help someone. And not just that, but I later found out I may have been the only person. I was essentially by myself in the length that I was going to help this guy. I had to explain to him. I said, listen, I have some stuff in my house. And I did have two other roommates, two other housemates that I lived with. And I said, I have some stuff in my house. I can take care of your feet. He did have some, like he could use some tending to. I said, if it's a little while longer, the way that you walk to my job is like twice that to get to my house. And I asked him, are you willing to take that, go that route? He said he was. So, and he was very. I guess he was he wasn't very scared. I guess he was just intrigued as to where this was headed. So we got to my house. I didn't really explain to my friends what I was doing. Generally, I'm kind of private when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't really talk that much about it. I guess I had this habit of just doing. Not saying I don't think, but I do it. But I do it because I'm capable of doing it. Anyway, I brought him in my room. My room's a little bit rearranged from the way it was roughly 3 years ago. But I had to tell the guy to sit down. I went and put on my gun belt. because I wanted my pistol to be I wanted to wear it in the open. And he asked me, was I a cop? I said, no, I'm not a cop. Then he later asked me, was he in trouble? And I got a sense that, he's not used to being around people who, maybe good people who have weapons. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, you're not in trouble. Don't worry. This is just, I told him this is for my protection, not just for you, but not just against, not really just necessarily against you, but just I always wear this around the house. I had my 45 on me, and I said, I went in had a first aid kit, and I took out a bunch of stuff, vitamin C, Vaseline, and I got a bunch of socks. I gathered stuff that I knew I had excess of, because I knew I can use that to help someone. I know this is against a lot of people's way of thinking, but put yourself in that person's shoes. Should something happen to you, would you appreciate it if someone went certain lengths to help you out? And that's what I was thinking about the whole time. I lost one job, and I had another job I could fall back on. Some people didn't have a job. I was fortunate though to have two, and I did take that for granted, but it didn't last long. I was able to get a second job, but that's another story. So while I gave him the stuff, I said, well, let's go in the bathroom, wash your feet. So I got some. I said, well, I'll help you wash your feet. I never done that before. I got on these dishwasher's gloves that we an extra pair to keep in the house, or rather I keep in the house. And he's standing up in the tub, or he's sitting on the toilet with his legs extended out, and I see his feet, like I said, needed tending to. So I cleaned his feet. Then I gave him some toenail clippers to use this, let you clip your own toenails. And he said it felt good, to have some warm water running on his feet, because the shoes he was wearing kind of like rubber galoshes, but he didn't have any socks. While he was doing that, I went into the kitchen and I prepared some soup and I think some tea. And I later came. While he was done washing his feet, I'm trying to remember the order this happened. I got some Vaseline and I started rubbing it on his feet. Like I said, I'd never done this before, but for some reason I felt that I had to go this far. So I coated his feet with Vaseline, to try to moisturize it a bit. Doing what I can. I gave him some socks to put on, and then he put the boots back on, which I think they were dried out by the time we were done. And we had sat down. One of my housemates, he was noticing the stuff that was happening, and he had asked me, what was going on. And I explained to him what I was doing. I actually wanted to keep him in my room for the night. Like I said, I'm going further than maybe most people would have. My other two housemates, they weren't having it. They weren't comfortable with what I was doing. I guess I wish they were able to see it the way I was seeing it. And one of them suggested, well, if he's gonna stay here, then let him sleep on the porch, because he's done that with other homeless guy that he let him sleep on the porch. And I was saying to myself, I don't know, for some reason I just had this desire to help someone. And like I said, should things go south, you may come across a situation like this yourself, or you may even find yourself needing someone else's help, and that's all I can think of. I might need someone else's help one day. How far would that person go? And then I think about how far should I go. And so, I said, all right, let them know that they didn't want them in the house, so they're gonna sleep on the porch. Bear in mind, it was about a year ago, so this is in January. Even in South Carolina, it can still be pretty cold in January. So So then I went, the extra length. He had, I gave him some blankets that I had, and I told him he could stay on my porch for the night. I went out, I laid and went outside with, before I modded out my ring to 870. It looks like it was just a four shot. I had a 4-shot magazine, nothing fancy, and I actually sat on my porch with that shotgun, and I did it because I was worried about. First of all, I didn't like anyone sleeping out exposed. As one thing, like I said before, with shelter, you don't want to be exposed for far too long. The porch may provide some cover, but not enough. At least not enough to keep keep me comfortable. And so, as far as security goes, I stayed outside for a couple of hours with him, and I had my Remington with me. Nothing happened, but it was just a thought that someone's gonna sleep on our porch. And the other two friends, they didn't want him in the house, because even though he was gonna be in my room, they didn't want him in the house. So, well, if he's gonna be on the porch, I'm gonna be on the porch with him. So I did that for a couple hours, and one of my friends, his room is actually close to right where the porch was. Like, there's a wall dividing his room and the porch. And so he asked, are you staying out here all night? I said, I'm not doing anything else in the morning, because I didn't have to go. I didn't have to go to work until later that night. And he said earlier that he said he was worried, about he was pretty disturbed about what I was doing. And then I said, I guess just to get him off my back, I came in the house after staying. I think I was outside for about 3 hours, maybe 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. And I wasn't worried. All I was concerned about was this man, Reggie, this man's safety, this man's well-being. I don't know why, I just was. Well, anyway, I stayed up pretty much the whole night. I was on my computer. I had a good view as to where, because I knew where he was laying. If something would happen, I can go out. I can get to the window pretty quickly. So he left. He left that morning. I didn't see him. And then I think that night, my two friends, they said have a talk with me. Now I'm pretty sure if he were to ever do something I did, if you had other people that were with you, that whatever your situation may be, and if it seems out of the ordinary, they want to talk to you about it. So they did. They had a discussion. One of them said he was real worried about having some stranger in the house. One of them said he was worried about having someone on the opposite side of the wall where he sleeps. He was worried that this guy was gonna try something. And I explained to him. I said, listen, if I knew that was the case, I wouldn't have done what I did. It didn't but I did this and nothing happened. I don't know. I guess it comes up as being risky, but I believe this was a sense where, I don't know, maybe I was tested. Maybe my kindness was tested. Maybe my soul was tested. And I went ahead and said, no, I'm gonna do this, because like I said, I was just fired. It was my fault, but I had another job to fall back on. Many other people at that time, and it's probably this case right now as I make this video, aren't that fortunate. So, why would it go hard for me to extend some help to someone else? One of our friends, he said that he thought, he saw that I was outside with a shotgun. He said, it seemed like you were keeping him prisoner, or like a warden over him. I said, it wasn't being a warden. I wanted to be sure that he was safe. He said, well, did he ask you to do that? I said, no, he didn't ask me. But then again, he didn't ask me to do a lot of things I did for him that night. I just did it, and I guess he graciously accepted it. We had a big disagreement as to whether I should have been out there that night and stuff like that. Well, I later ran into the guy, and this is the last time I ever saw him. I was coming about a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks from the time I had done all that stuff that night, and I spoke to him. I said, hey, hey Reggie. He recognized me, and I asked him how he was doing. He said he's doing fine. And I asked him, were you bothered by what I did that night? Being on the porch, with my shotgun while you slept. He said, And I never forget this. He said no. He said he greatly appreciated it. He said I treated him like a brother, and I said I'm happy I was able to help you out, and we parted ways. I never saw him again. I hope he is doing well. He must have been like what, 20 years older than me. I never asked him his age. The reason why I call this the SHTF story is, like I said before, I understand we all have our preps, and we're critical about security and things like that. But you may come to a point where maybe, I guess, your humanity may be tested. How far would you go to help someone? Even when you have great opposition from those close to you, how far would you go to help someone? I guess that was an instance where I knew where I stood in a situation like that. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about I learned a lot from Reggie. I learned a lot from my friends at the time. You may find it, like I said, you may find yourself in a situation like that. I just hope that you be ready for anything. Anything can happen. But I figure if shit does hit the fan, how much of our humanity is lost in the process, and also how much of our humanity is developed, or how much of it grows. So I would hope that I'm able to retain my humanity, even stretch it out to where I can actually help others down the road, but still be prepared. Like I said, I had my 45 with me in case something were to happen. But like I said, he was more worried that he thought he was in trouble. I said, "You're not in trouble. No, it's just something I do. I'm protecting myself and protecting the house where I live. And in a sense, I might also be protecting him. I may have been protecting him at the time as well, because I don't know what it would have been like if he had stayed out that night. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't take him in. But that's my story. Basically, it's me giving quarter to a stranger. If you have any, if you had a situation like that, where it was a kind of a moral dilemma, please share with me, make a video in response to this. Please leave comments. I just ask you please be civil to the people who are also leaving comments. Any gripes and grievances you got towards me, it's okay. I can take it. But that's my video. I'm Edward Jones, and you take care.